Hi, hello everybody, I'm Justin, this is Koopa. Welcome to Koopa's Corner. Today we're going to talk about the Royal Rumble. It's coming up this Saturday, February the 1st. Special start time, 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 3 o'clock Pacific. It's going to be from Indianapolis, and it's going to be live on Peacock. The Royal Rumble is my absolute favorite event of the year. And it's because it's one of the most difficult to predict. But we're going to try anyway. So let's go ahead and break down the match card, talk about what we think is going to happen. And we're going to start off, as of now, there's only 4 matches announced. Typically, WWE PLEs have 5. There still is one more episode of SmackDown between now and then. So they could always add a match. But the Royal Rumble matches tend to be very long. So I don't think that they will. I think we're going to have 4-match card. We're going to get the Tag Team Championships from SmackDown. In a 2 out of 3 falls match, DIY defending against the Motor City Machine Guns. Super exciting because it's actually the Motor City Machine Guns, their first PLE. They've been on SmackDown for a little while now. They've been in the WWE for a little while now. They've had a run with the tag titles, lost them, and they still have not appeared on a PLE. So very exciting, and they're going to have a chance to do it with, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, 2 of the best in-ring performers. Honestly, I'm surprised these guys are not much bigger stars because they are so good at what they do. And they're in a tag team, and they're going to defend the tag team titles. 2 out of 3 falls. This one's going to be a time-consuming match as well, and both teams are going to get a nice chance to show off what they got. I expect we'll get, 1 fall from the Motor City Machine Guns, 1 fall from DIY, and we're going to be battling it out for that 3rd fall. And it's going to just be, this is going to be a fast-paced one. It's going to be a lot of fun. The WWE Championship is being defended, and it's being defended in a ladder match between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. We talked about this a little bit on our Saturday night's main event preview and predictions, and a little bit in the post-show there as well, because there was a contract signing. Got a little physical, as contract signings do in the WWE. And we got to see old HBK there with busting out a sweet chin music on Kevin Owens. And I think that this is a really interesting match because, quite frankly, this is the first time since Cody's won the title that it feels like it could potentially go either way. Now, I don't think that it will. I think Cody Rhodes will retain. Just cards on the table. That is my prediction. But this one doesn't feel as locked as Cody's matches usually do. And the dynamic that they've been telling this story has been really interesting because kind of throughout this entire journey, particularly since the Kevin Owens story started, Cody Rhodes doesn't come across as the babyface. He's supposed to, but he hasn't been coming across as the babyface, right? We even saw it with the contract signing on Saturday night's main event. Kevin Owens tried to talk. He tried to explain himself a little bit, and Cody Rhodes interrupts and says, "Shut the hell up. I'm not interested in your excuses." Look, this whole story plays out this is years in the making, right? Because during the peak of the Bloodline, which was basically 4 years, Kevin Owens was, one of their favorite punching bags. Kevin Owens took a beating at the hands of the Bloodline on several occasions. He fought against them time and time again, right? And it was, in fact, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble 2023. Sami Zayn turned down Roman, right? And that was when Cody went on to win the Rumble the first time. And that's when he went on to face Roman Reigns in the main event of WrestleMania the first time. And he lost. And a lot of people didn't think that was the right call. It was absolutely the right call. In fact, it should have been Sami Zayn who dethroned Roman, not Cody. But I digress, right? This has been going on for a very long time, point being that Kevin Owens has been essentially a victim of the bloodline. And, he finally teams up with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes to fight the bloodline on several occasions. He even made an appearance when Cody Rhodes finally took the title from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 last year. And then Cody Rhodes decides to team up with Roman Reigns at, Bad Blood, I believe it was. And now, of course, so Kevin Owens takes that personally, A friend of my enemy is my enemy. It makes a lot of sense. And throughout the entire time, Cody Rhodes has been so incredibly dismissive of Kevin Owens' feelings. And every time that it's come to physicality, Cody was throwing punches first. Cody was bringing weapons into the ring first. Cody has been really sort of arrogant and whiny and petulant this whole time, whereas Kevin Owens has sort of been right. Kevin Owens is right. Kevin Owens is very valid to feel the way that he feels. So that is, really an interesting dynamic, because Kevin Owens is supposed to be the bad guy and Cody Rhodes is supposed to be the good guy. But it sort of has played out inverted. If you're not really reading into the story too much, you're just taking things at face value, you don't always get that. But if you're paying attention at all, it's been the opposite. So it's really interesting dynamic. And there's an extra little twist here because Kevin Owens, had a little moment with Sami Zayn backstage and basically was like, well, you've gotten Roman Reigns' back and you've gotten everybody else's back, and you and I, well, we're best friends, so obviously you're going to have my back, and if you have my back, then you and I can go on to the main event of WrestleMania together, because I'll have yours in the Royal Rumble match. So, Kevin Owens offered, basically to Sami Zayn, help me out, I'll help you out, let's main event together, which is a very interesting dynamic for the Rumble match. I can't wait. We'll talk about that in a minute, but it's going to come down to this ladder match. So Kevin Owens could win. That could happen. That could be a possibility that we get Kevin Owens winning, validated, and then going on to face Sami Zayn. Again, I'm not sure how likely that is. I think Cody Rhodes will retain. I think it's going to be a hell of a match either way, and I'm really excited for it. And then there are the two Royal Rumble matches. Right now, for those of you unfamiliar, which I don't know why you'd be watching my video if you are, but if you're unfamiliar, the Royal Rumble is a very simple concept, really high stakes. It's a great way to introduce non-wrestling fans to wrestling. It's the match I go to whenever I'm trying to get my friends who don't watch to watch. I'll wait for the Royal Rumble to invite somebody over to come watch it. Two superstars enter the ring. Every 90 seconds thereafter, another superstar enters until all 30 have entered. They are eliminated when they are thrown over the top rope and both feet hit the ground, and that is very important. The last remaining superstar is the winner, and they get a main event championship opportunity at WrestleMania. So again, incredibly high stakes, very simple concept, very fun concept, because there are 30 superstars. It's not always as serious, and it involves a lot of other superstars who don't always get the spotlight, particularly on a premium live event, which allows for a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun in the middle, a lot of kind of twists and turns, and then, right at the end, we're sort of left with a handful of very legitimate contenders for the title. So a great opportunity here for a lot of superstars to take advantage of, even if they're not going to be the winners, right? So let's talk about the Women's Royal Rumble first. Here are all of the confirmed superstars as of this past Monday Night Raw. Liv Morgan with Raquel Rodriguez, Bayley, Nia Jax, Bianca Belair and Naomi, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, Ivy Nile, and Lyra Valkyria. So a good handful of superstars there. That's, 10 of them? That's a third of the field. That's pretty good. That leaves 20 spaces. We could get a few more declared on SmackDown and, get us up to 13, 14, 15, about that halfway point. But that still leaves us with, the field open. Some of these superstars don't have to declare, don't have to announce, because they're not going to be the big name women to draw for the match. Just going to be some of the undercard filling out those spots. But it also leaves room for potential surprises, which is always one of the biggest draws of the Royal Rumble every year. Who are the surprise entrants going to be? For the women, I feel like it's much more open than for the men, right? So let's talk about some of the women who could be a surprise entrant into the Rumble. I think first and foremost, the elephant in the room, the man Becky Lynch could be making her return, right? There's been rumors that she has signed another WWE contract and that her return is imminent. So that could very realistically happen just in time for WrestleMania, one of their biggest stars coming on back. I think that one's very likely. Roxanne Perez could be a surprise entrant, right? She's an NXT superstar, but she's been showing up on Raw and SmackDown, kind of taunting Bayley a little bit, so I wouldn't be surprised if she was in the match. She was in the match last year as well. So Roxanne Perez could be a very realistic surprise entrant. I think another almost lock is going to be Jade Cargill, right? She's been written off of TV. She was attacked by a mystery attacker some time ago, and she's been out ever since. I think she comes back. And she has a very dominant showing, right? And she has a little confrontation with Bianca Belair or Naomi, right? Because potentially it's one of them who attacked her, right? Naomi has a lot more to gain for it, but I think Bianca is the bigger WrestleMania match. So I would like to see her and Bianca sort of kick off a feud in the Royal Rumble match. I think another possibility, which may or may not happen depending on how you take the rumors, because a lot of the rumors are that it's not going to happen, but someone who's been off of TV for a couple of years now is Alexa Bliss, right? She's been off of TV for 2 years. I think it was the Royal Rumble 23 was her last appearance. So she's due back, and I would love to have her back. Big Alexa Bliss fan. And I think that, very few people have the charisma that she has. So I'm excited to have her back if she comes back. Another possibility, which may be a little less likely, right? I don't know, is Nikki Bella. Nikki Bella made peace with the WWE as recently as Raw on Netflix. She was a surprise guest in the crowd there. So she could be an entrant in the Royal Rumble. Possible. I don't know if it's likely. A couple more names I want to talk about. Jordynne Grace, right? Jordynne Grace was in the Rumble last year. Not super familiar with Jordynne Grace, and you might not be either. That's okay. She was a TNA superstar, and WWE just signed her because she just finished her contract with TNA. So this would be a great place for her to make her official WWE debut. And if you want to see a little bit more of Jordynne Grace, go watch the Rumble from last year, right? She was in that match, so you can become a little familiar with her, and then you can just sort of get in the Rumble spirit. So it's a great idea. Another possibility here, a couple of NXT superstars, right? Anybody from NXT really could show up in theory. But I think there are two names that seem likely, right? One is Cora Jade. She's been around for a long time. She's been in, several feuds there, and she's done pretty much everything she can do in NXT. Now, I don't know her too well, but I know the name, right? You just hear it around. And that's how you know she's a pretty big deal in NXT. And it could be time for a call-up, or it could just be time to get her in front of a main roster audience to try and draw some attention back to NXT. Right? But I'm not an NXT guy. I don't watch NXT. So I don't really know too much else about Cora Jade. Another NXT name, Fallon Henley. I'm not super familiar with her work, but I do know that she is the North American champion over down in NXT right now. So having, a champion show up is pretty safe, I think. I got a couple more names. One, haven't been hearing any rumors about, but Asuka. Asuka's been out with an injury. She could be making her return at the Royal Rumble. And then the last name, someone I think is very unlikely, to be honest, but I think it's the most exciting possibility here. I would love to see it, even if it's just a one-off, and that would be a return from AJ Lee. Now, what do you guys think? Do you think AJ Lee could show up. I doubt it. To be honest, I doubt it. I don't think it's likely. But who knows? A big payday, a one-night appearance, never say never. And that would be a hell of a surprise. Now I want to talk about just one more thing with the Women's Rumble match, right? And the Iron Woman and the most eliminations. I like to make predictions for these as well. The Iron Woman, who's going to have the longest time in the match itself. And I think this would be a really great opportunity to sort of elevate the star power for your Intercontinental Champion, Lyra Valkyria. She's a new champion. She's a workhorse. I'm not super familiar with her. She hasn't done a ton on the main roster. And this would be a great way to really elevate that star power. Have her come in at 3 or 4 and last, or number 1 even, and last till the final 4. Right? If she's a constant present, that's going to be an impressive. If she does 45 minutes, 50 minutes, she could really elevate her star power there. Now, I think most eliminations, Jade Cargill, right? She's a beast. She's so ripped, and she's got the look. She's got the star power. She comes in right at the end. She starts chucking everybody over. She has, a moment with Bianca, and they take each other out. Then you thin the field really fast. You get her 6, 7, 8, 9 eliminations if you want. You make her look like a hell of a beast, and then, you kickstart her feud with Bianca that way. So those are my predictions for the Women's Royal Rumble match. Now let's talk about the Men's Royal Rumble match. And again, we're going to start with all of the confirmed superstars as of this past Monday Night Raw. That's John Cena, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Seth freaking Rollins, Drew McIntyre, Sami Zayn, Shinsuke Nakamura, who is the United States champion. There's Logan Paul, Penta, and main event Jey Uso. And these have all been confirmed for the Royal Rumble match. Now let's talk about some potential surprise entrants, right? I think the number one guy that most people want to see, Joe Hendry. WWE has a great relationship with TNA. He is the TNA World Champion. He's been in NXT this past year. He had a feud for the NXT Championship, right? And just imagine the pop if that music goes off. He's got one of the best entrance songs in professional wrestling history. And I think that it would be incredible for him to show up. I believe in Joe Hendry. So I don't know. If they have one surprise entrant, I hope it's Joe Hendry. But a couple other names could be Matt or Jeff Hardy. Both of the Hardys are in TNA, and they've got such a legacy with the WWE. That could happen. We'll dip down to NXT. Obafemi, the NXT champion. Right, again, putting a champion out there is a pretty safe bet. As far as legends go, we could see some legends. We didn't really get too many legends in our predictions for the women, but Mark Henry, right? Mark Henry was just at Saturday Night's Main Event in the crowd, and he's free from his AEW contract. He wouldn't be a regular in-ring performer, but he could come out for a Rumble appearance. And same thing with JBL. JBL is another great, I think, option for a legend to appear in the Rumble. Now, this next one, a little less likely, but I think it would be great, absolutely phenomenal, with the right storytelling, given the history, the recent history. And that's Big E. Big E could come in, he could chuck out Xavier, he could chuck out Kofi, and it would be absolutely wonderful. Get a little revenge there. Don't think it's likely, right? I think when they did the breakup angle, a lot of people were being super hopeful, including myself. I'm not taking myself out of this, but a lot of people were being super hopeful that it was leading to a Big E return and potentially a triple threat at WrestleMania. And that didn't really come to fruition. All the rumors on the internet seem to indicate that Big E is still hurt and that he's not going to wrestle. He's never going to wrestle again. And that very well may be true, but I'm still holding out hope, right? Even if it's just a one-off and he just kind of screws Xavier or Kofi or both, that would be great. But if it does set up a return for Big E and a triple threat match at WrestleMania, I'm just going to lose it, man. That would be awesome. And I think there's one more potential surprise entrant here that I want to talk about. And I don't know how likely this is because I don't know the extent of his injury, but someone has been out for a good part of 2024. That was the phenomenal AJ Styles. He's been out for a while, and if he's near a return, then this would be the perfect place to do it. And he might not be. He might still have a long road of recovery in front of him. I'm not really familiar with what his injury was or what the recovery timetable is, but I just think it would be cool to see AJ Styles, and it would inject some much needed star power. Well, not much needed. This is one of the most star-studded Royal Rumbles in history, but it would increase that. You know, AJ Styles is a big name, and having him come back and immediately jump back into the main event scene, that'd be pretty awesome. Now let's talk about the Iron Man and the most eliminations, right? These are always fun predictions as well. I think the Iron Man would make a lot of sense if it was Penta. Penta, new to the WWE, pretty over, trying to make a name for himself, trying to establish himself, and having a really long run in the Rumble would go a long way to do that. I think most eliminations, this one actually seems pretty obvious in my opinion, and that is your Intercontinental Champion, Braun Breaker. Right? I think Braun Breaker obviously enters the Rumble, even though he's not a thus far confirmed name. And I think that he comes in and he starts throwing people out left and right, and I think him having the most eliminations. Now, I don't think he'll break a record or anything like that. I think the record at 13, that's going to stand for a while, right? But I think Braun Breaker probably gets 6 or 7 and has the most this year. On top of that, we could always get some really fun spots, right? I would love to see Santino Marella as a surprise entrant. I would love to see, what R-Truth has in store, because I think that has a lot of potential to be funny and entertaining, and R-Truth is just a gem. On the women's side, I think Chelsea Green has a lot of potential to add some entertainment into the match, right? Not just seriousness. But yeah, man, I'm so excited. I am so excited. I love the Royal Rumble. Hopefully, y'all are tuning in, and you know what? Let me know in the comments who do you think is going to be the winner of each of the Rumble matches, right? Who do you think is going on to WrestleMania? There are so many potential stories being told, being woven in and out. And, we don't know who's going to win. And, we talked about some of our predictions for the entrance, but we didn't make final predictions for the match. And we could. I guess that's kind of the point, isn't it? All right. I was going to not, but we will. We'll talk about the winners here. So I think for the women, Rhea Ripley doesn't have a whole lot going on right now. Tiffany Stratton kind of doesn't have a whole lot going on right now. So you could go in a number of directions, right? Charlotte makes a lot of sense. I think Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton will lock up, right? I talked about that in my way too early predictions for WrestleMania video a few months ago, which I'll link that, by the way, at the end. So Charlotte Flair is a pretty high possibility. I think Becky Lynch is a pretty high possibility. Personally, I don't really like either of those options. They've both won them before. I don't think Charlotte needs to be the first 2-time winner. She probably will be, but I don't like it. I would rather see Liv Morgan win. I know we've had a lot of Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley lately. I don't think this is likely, by the way. This is not my prediction. I just think it would be really cool. Because she's been involved with Rhea. She's got the story with Rhea. And I think that, conversely, you could do Nia Jax and get her that rematch against Tiffany Stratton. But I also want to just stick on Liv Morgan for a moment. Imagine if Liv Morgan won and then chose Tiffany Stratton. Right? There's some star power there. And the two of them have not really clashed. And honestly, in the tease for, or the build to Crown Jewel last year, Tiffany Stratton was teasing cashing in her Money in the Bank on Liv, and I think that now that the roles are reversed, that would be really interesting. Also, Tiffany Stratton sort of teased taking Dom away from Liv as well. I think there's some potential with that story. I think that would be a really entertaining possibility. But how much faith do I have in the WWE? Not that much. I think it's going to be good, and it's been a lot better since Triple H took over, but I think the safe bet here is Charlotte Flair, so I'm predicting Charlotte Flair. Now for the men. Ooh, there is one other surprise I forgot to mention. Just popped in my head. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. There are several stories being told here. Just this past Monday on Raw, Gunther was begging Seth Rollins to win. He was begging Logan Paul to win. Cody Rhodes, had a little confrontation with Drew McIntyre, right? Kevin Owens, if he wins the ladder match, then it could be Sami Zayn. It could be CM Punk. CM Punk and Cody have also had some confrontation. Roman Reigns is never to be ruled out. And let's not forget that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk a favor. So there's a lot of moving parts at the top of the card. John Cena winning his third Rumble, going after his 17th world title. That's a huge story coming out of this. Or it would be if he does win, And another possibility, and I don't know how likely this is after the debut of Raw on Netflix, but another possibility would be The Rock. Right? If Roman Reigns is the last one in and The Rock comes out at number 30, we get a little bit of a tease for that match, right? That match that should have happened last year, but all those Cody crybabies took from us. We didn't get it. The dream match between the Great One and the Tribal Chief. That would be really cool. Another thing that if he was still the final boss, right, and not Raw on Netflix, corporate happy-go-lucky Rock, if he was still the final boss, I wouldn't be surprised. I've heard this thrown around on the internet, and I love it. It's not my idea, but I love it. All 30 come out. We have a winner. Number 31 is The Rock. I think that's a really fun idea. And I would have said before Raw on Netflix, I would have said it's actually a pretty good possibility. I actually would have predicted The Rock as the winner, but after Raw on Netflix, I just think it's much less likely. And I think that the way the stories have been being told so far, I think you're looking at CM Punk. I think CM Punk is going to go on to win, and he's going to go on to face Cody Rhodes. But there you have it, guys. Those are my final predictions for the Royal Rumble. Again, let me know who you think is going to win. There are so many options. There's so many possibilities. This is such a hard match to predict, and that's what makes it great. I absolutely love the Royal Rumble. So let me know in the comments what you think. Hey, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please like the video, subscribe if you enjoyed, and we'll keep talking about the PLEs as they come out. So subscribe if you want to hang out again and you want to chat it up again, and that would mean a lot. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.